Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Voice of Diary. Today's story is going to blow your mind because of its bitter truth. So put on your earphones and let's start the story. I, 29M, work in commercial real estate development. Numbers guy. Contracts, timelines, contingencies. I'm not dramatic by nature. I don't spiral. I calculate, which is probably why what happened at a simple venue tour still feels unreal. My fiancée, 27F, and I were walking through this restored brick warehouse downtown. String lights, exposed beams, that whole Pinterest aesthetic. She was taking videos for Instagram, already talking about champagne walls and drone shots. I was mentally calculating catering costs and parking logistics. My sister, 24F, was supposed to be one of her bridesmaids. That had never been a debate. My sister and I are close. She has a mild facial difference from a childhood medical condition. It's visible, but it's her face. She owns it. She's confident, works as a pediatric nurse, volunteers on weekends. She's stronger than anyone I know. We were standing near the tall windows when my fiancée lowered her voice and said, "Ugh, your sister can't be a bridesmaid." I thought she was joking. I said, "What?" She didn't hesitate. "She'll ruin the photos. I'm paying a lot for photography. I want clean bridal shots." Clean. I just stared at her. She rolled her eyes like I was being slow. "Don't make a big deal. She can sit in the front row, just not in matching dresses." There are moments when time slows down, not because of drama, but because your brain is trying to reconcile who you thought someone was with who they're showing you they are. I said, "She's my sister." She shrugged. "And this is my wedding." That was the first crack. On the drive home, she acted normal, talking about centerpieces. I didn't respond much. I kept hearing that word, clean. That night I called my sister. I didn't tell her everything. I just asked how she'd feel if she wasn't in the bridal party. There was a pause. "I mean, if she doesn't want me, that's okay," she said. "Too quick, too practiced." "She said something?" I asked. Another pause. Longer. "She messaged me last week," my sister said quietly. She said she thought it would be better if I did a reading instead. Said bridesmaid dresses are very aesthetic dependent. I didn't want to make things awkward for you. I felt something shift in me. She had already started. I went through my fiancé's messages on the kitchen counter while she was in the shower. I'm not proud of that, but I did it. And there it was. "Hey, I think you'd shine more doing a reading. Bridesmaid photos can be intense, and I want everyone to feel comfortable." And then a separate group chat with her maid of honor. "I can't have asymmetry in the bridal line. It throws off the symmetry in photos." Asymmetry. Like my sister was a crooked frame on a wall. The next morning, I confronted her. "Why are you messaging my sister behind my back?" She crossed her arms. "Because you're too emotional about it. She's my sister, and I'm your future wife." I said, "You don't get to erase my family for aesthetics." She snapped. "Stop acting like I said something terrible. It's one day. It's my day. I deserve to look back and love every photo." That phrase, "my day," started showing up a lot after that. Over the next 2 weeks, more things surfaced. She told the photographer privately to avoid close shots of my side of the family because they're not very polished. She told my mother that she should consider a more flattering hairstyle for wedding photos. She asked my sister not to bring her long-term boyfriend because the guest list is tight, but somehow added 2 of her coworkers last minute. When I pushed back, she'd switch tactics. "You're overreacting. You're sabotaging our happiness. Why are you choosing them over me?" It wasn't just about my sister anymore. It was about control. Then came the deposits. We had a joint wedding account. I contributed 70% because I make more. We both signed vendor contracts. Venue deposit was $8,000. Non-refundable, but transferable within 12 months under the contract terms. Photographer, $3,000 retainer. Catering, $5,000 deposit. One evening, I logged into the account and saw a $12,000 transfer to her personal account. I asked her about it. "It's for dress alterations and extras," she said casually. $12,000. She sighed. You're acting like I stole it. Did the vendor invoice that? No, but I'll pay it back. That was the second crack, turning into a fault line. I called the bank. The account required both signatures for withdrawals over $10,000. She had forged my digital authorization. I know, because I didn't receive the two-factor authentication prompt I always get. I contacted the bank's fraud department. They froze the joint account pending investigation. Under U.S. banking law, forging authorization on a joint account is fraud, even between engaged partners. They opened a case. When I told her, she exploded. You reported me? Are you insane? You forged my authorization. It's our money. It required both signatures. She tried to flip it. So now you're trying to ruin my life over wedding stress? Wedding stress doesn't forge digital signatures. 3 days later, I received a call from the venue coordinator. My fiancée had tried to remove my name from the contract and replace it with her father's. She told them I was unstable and might try to cancel. The coordinator refused because both original signatories had to agree in writing. I drove straight to the venue. The coordinator showed me the email thread. My fiancé had written, "For personal safety reasons, I need him removed from all vendor access." Personal safety. That word has legal weight. It's not decorative. I realized this was escalating beyond entitlement. This was strategy. That night, I made a decision. I called my sister. I told her everything. The messages, the symmetry comments, the transfer. She was quiet. Then she said, "You don't have to protect me from the truth." I said, "I'm not protecting you anymore. I'm protecting us." The next morning, I scheduled consultations with 2 attorneys. One for potential civil action regarding the funds. One just to understand my liability if I canceled everything. Here's what I learned. Because the wedding account was jointly owned, but the transfer exceeded authorized limits and involved falsified authentication, the bank's fraud investigation could result in reimbursement and potential criminal referral. Vendor contracts signed by both parties require mutual consent to modify. One party cannot unilaterally remove the other. If I canceled, I'd lose non-refundable deposits unless I found replacements under transfer clauses. So I didn't cancel. I transferred. I contacted the venue and asked about date transfers. They confirmed the deposit could apply to a new event within 12 months. I rebranded the wedding. Not publicly. Not yet. First, I secure the funds. The bank investigation concluded within 3 weeks. They confirmed unauthorized authorization. The $12,000 was reversed back into the joint account. Because we weren't married and there was clear evidence of forged consent, they warned her formally and documented it. They did not pursue criminal charges because I declined escalation. But the record existed. When she found out the funds were reversed, she said, "You're humiliating me." "No," I said. "You did that yourself." Then she pulled her dirtiest trick. She told her family and some of our mutual friends that I had anger issues and was financially controlling. She implied I was emotionally abusive. 2 people reached out to me asking if everything was okay. That's when I stopped playing defense. I compiled screenshots, the group chat about asymmetry, the email to the venue about personal safety, the forged authorization report from the bank with sensitive info redacted, the message to my sister about aesthetics. I didn't blast it online. I sent it directly to the people she had spoken to. Simple message. Since there are concerns about my behavior, here is documentation. Make your own conclusions. Silence followed. Her maid of honor called me privately and said, "I didn't know she did the bank thing." Her father asked to meet. We met at a diner. I brought printed copies. I laid them out on the table. He read everything. He looked tired. He said, "This isn't how I raised her." I said, "I'm not asking you to fix her. I'm stepping away." That evening, I told my fiancée it was over. She laughed. "You're bluffing." I handed her the ring. She said, "You'll regret this. No one will put up with your family baggage." I said, "My family isn't baggage." And then I told her about the venue. Because here's the part she didn't see coming. I had already transferred the venue date. Same deposit, same space, but not for a wedding, for a fundraiser. My sister works in pediatric oncology. The hospital foundation does an annual charity gala, but struggles with venue costs. I met with the foundation director and offered the space at no cost beyond catering adjustments. The deposit covered the venue rental entirely. We rebranded the event as a spring benefit gala. Silent auction, corporate sponsors, the works. The date that was supposed to be our wedding became a sold-out charity event raising money for children fighting cancer. When invitations went out, people noticed. Same venue, same date, different purpose. She found out through Instagram. She called me furious. "You're using our wedding to make me look bad." I said, "I'm using my deposit for something meaningful." "You're petty." "No, I'm done." The gala raised over $180,000. My sister stood on that same brick floor in a navy dress, giving a speech about the kids she cares for. There were photos, lots of them, clean ones, and real ones. After the engagement ended, there were no lawsuits. The bank case stayed documented but closed. Vendors kept deposits per contract. I didn't chase her for anything else. I didn't need to. The consequences were social, reputational, real. Mutual friends distanced themselves from her. Her maid of honor stepped down from future events. Her father paid back some of the smaller vendor losses voluntarily after seeing everything. As for me, I learned something simple. Anyone who sees your family as an inconvenience will eventually see you the same way. If someone calls your sister asymmetry, believe them the first time. And if you're going to try to rewrite the narrative, make sure the receipts aren't sitting in someone else's folder. If this story saved you from ignoring a red flag wrapped in lace, hit subscribe. Symmetry is overrated. Character isn't. This is the voice of Diary signing off.